For decades, doctors told us to worry about that bottom number. But groundbreaking research has completely flipped everything we thought we knew. Right now, as you are watching this, there is a silent war happening inside your arteries. The other number, it barely moved the needle at all in people over 60.
What if I told you there's a simple number hidden in your blood test results that can predict your risk of a heart attack or stroke with shocking accuracy? And what if I told you another number, one your doctor probably focuses on, barely matters at all for many people? Stick with me because what you're about to learn could fundamentally change how you think about your heart health. For decades, we've been told to fear cholesterol. Specifically, LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol. We've been prescribed medications, told to change our diets, all in an effort to lower this one number. And for good reason, right? High LDL is supposed to clog our arteries and lead to cardiovascular disease. That's the story we've all heard. But a massive study, looking at over 100,000 people, is starting to tell a different story. Researchers dug into the data, comparing the predictive power of different markers in our blood. They looked at LDL cholesterol, total cholesterol, and a few other things. But one particular ratio stood out from the rest. It wasn't just a little better at predicting risk. It was dramatically better. This powerful predictor is the ratio of your triglycerides to your HDL cholesterol. Let me say that again. Triglycerides divided by HDL. It's that simple. You can probably find these two numbers on your last blood panel right now. Go ahead, grab it if you have it. We'll do the math together. Let's talk about why this ratio is so important. Triglycerides are a type of fat found in your blood that your body uses for energy. When you eat, your body converts any calories it doesn't need to use right away into triglycerides. High levels are often a sign that you're consuming more calories than you're burning, especially from high carbohydrate foods and sugar. HDL, on the other hand, is the good cholesterol. Think of it as the cleanup crew for your arteries. It scavenges excess cholesterol from your bloodstream and carries it back to the liver, where it can be processed and removed. So you want high HDL levels. When you look at the ratio of triglycerides to HDL, you're getting a snapshot of a very important dynamic in your body. High triglycerides mean there's a lot of fat circulating in your blood. Low HDL means your cleanup crew is understaffed. That combination is a recipe for trouble. It's an indicator of something called insulin resistance, which is a key driver of inflammation and plaque buildup in the arteries. Now let's get back to that groundbreaking study. Researchers found that people with the highest triglyceride LDL ratio had a 16 times higher risk of a heart attack compared to those with the lowest ratio. 16 times. That is a staggering number. So, how does this compare to the old standby LDL cholesterol? Here's where it gets really interesting. The study showed that when they looked at the triglyceride HDL ratio, the predictive power of LDL cholesterol almost vanished. In other words, if your ratio was good, your LDL level didn't seem to matter nearly as much. Your risk was low regardless of whether your LDL was high or low. This suggests that we might have been focusing on the wrong villain all along. It's not necessarily the total amount of LDL that's the problem, but rather the asterisk-type asterisk of LDL particles. A high triglyceride HDL ratio is a strong indicator that you have a lot of small, dense, and dangerous LDL particles, the kind that can easily penetrate the artery walls and cause inflammation. A low ratio, on the other hand, suggests your LDL particles are likely the large, fluffy, and relatively harmless kind. So, what is a good ratio? For the most accurate calculation, you need to make sure your lab results are in the same units, which is typically milligrams per deciliter, or mg/dl. In that case, an ideal ratio is below 2. A ratio of 2 to 4 is considered high, and anything above 4 is considered very high risk. If your lab uses different units like mol/L, the target numbers will be different, so it's best to consult a conversion chart or your doctor. But just for a quick check, let's say your triglycerides are 150 mg/dl and your HDL is 40 mg/dl. Your ratio would be 150 divided by 40, which equals 3.75. That puts you in the high-risk category, even if your total cholesterol looks fine. Now imagine another person with triglycerides of 80 and an HDL of 60. The ratio is 1.33. That's excellent, even if their LDL is a bit elevated. You can see how this simple calculation provides a much clearer picture of your actual metabolic health. Now for the second shocking finding from this research. The study also looked at how these predictors performed across different age groups. And for people over 60, the results were even more pronounced. For this older group, the triglyceride HDL ratio remained a powerful predictor of heart disease, but LDL cholesterol? Its predictive ability dropped to almost zero. That's right. For people over 60 in this study, high LDL cholesterol was a very poor predictor of future heart attacks or strokes. Think about the implications of this. Millions of people over 60 are on statin drugs, primarily to lower their LDL cholesterol. Yet this data suggests that for many of them, this focus might be misplaced. They might be dealing with the side effects of a medication that is targeting a number that has very little bearing on their actual risk. Meanwhile, the number that truly matters, their triglyceride HDL ratio, might be completely ignored. This doesn't mean you should stop taking your medication. It's crucial to always talk to your doctor before making any changes. But it does mean you should be empowered to have a more informed conversation. You can ask your doctor, what is my triglyceride to HDL ratio, and what can we do to improve it? The great news is that this ratio is incredibly responsive to lifestyle changes. Unlike your genetics, this is a number you have a tremendous amount of control over. So how do you lower your triglycerides and raise your HDL? First, and most importantly, cut back on sugar and refined carbohydrates. Things like white bread, pasta, sugary drinks, and desserts cause a spike in insulin, which tells your liver to pump out more triglycerides. Replacing these with whole foods is the single most effective step you can take. Second, embrace healthy fats. Don't be afraid of fats from sources like avocados, olive oil, nuts, and fatty fish. These fats can actually help lower your triglycerides and, in the case of omega-3 south from fish, significantly improve your heart health. They are essential for raising your HDL. Third, get moving. Regular physical activity, especially a mix of aerobic exercise and resistance training, is fantastic for improving insulin sensitivity. Exercise burns triglycerides for fuel and has been consistently shown to boost HDL levels. You don't have to become a marathon runner. Even consistent brisk walking can make a huge difference. Fourth, consider your alcohol intake. While a little bit of red wine is sometimes associated with heart health, excessive alcohol consumption can dramatically increase triglyceride levels. Moderation is key. And finally, manage your weight. If you're carrying extra weight, especially around your midsection, losing even 5 to 10% of your body weight can lead to a dramatic improvement in your triglyceride HDL ratio. All the steps we just discussed, cutting sugar, eating healthy fats, and exercising, will naturally help you achieve a healthier weight. The power of this knowledge is that it puts you back in the driver's seat. It shifts the focus from a number that can feel out of your control to a ratio that directly reflects your daily choices. It's about understanding your body's metabolic health on a deeper level. So the next time you get a blood test, don't just glance at the total cholesterol. Look for your triglycerides and your HDL. Do the simple division. This single number might just be the most important piece of information you have for predicting and preventing the #1 killer in the world. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's something you can change starting today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps you take control of your health. Share this video with someone you care about. It might just change their life. See you in the next one. Did you know your doctor might be missing the most critical sign of a heart attack hiding in plain sight? It's a number on your blood pressure reading that, for decades, has been dangerously overlooked. Especially for anyone over 60. We're all taught to watch our blood pressure, right? We see those two numbers, systolic and diastolic, and we're told to keep them in a healthy range. But what if I told you that for seniors, one of these numbers is far more important than the other, and it's probably not the one you think? New research is revealing a shocking truth. Our understanding of blood pressure needs a major update when it comes to aging. This isn't just a minor detail. It's a life or death distinction that most people are completely unaware of. We'll explore why your arteries behave differently after 60, which number you absolutely must pay attention to, and the simple, natural ways you can start managing it today. This information could be the most important thing you learn about your health this year, so stay with me. Let's start by breaking down what those two blood pressure numbers actually mean. The top number, systolic pressure, measures the force your heart exerts on the walls of your arteries each time it beats. The bottom number, diastolic pressure, is the pressure in your arteries between beats. For years, doctors have looked at both numbers, often giving them equal weight. The common wisdom was, keep both down and you'll be fine. But here's where it gets interesting, especially for the over 60 crowd. As we age, our arteries naturally start to stiffen. Think of it like a brand new rubber band versus an old, dried-out one. The new one is flexible and stretches easily. The old one is rigid and might snap under pressure. Your arteries go through a similar process. This stiffening primarily affects the systolic pressure. It causes that top number to climb, because your heart has to pump harder to push blood through less flexible vessels. Meanwhile, the diastolic or bottom number often stays the same or even drops. So why has this been missed for so long? The focus has often been on diastolic hypertension, especially in younger and middle-aged adults, where it's a significant risk factor. Medical guidelines were created based on studies that included a wide range of age groups. The unique cardiovascular changes that happen in seniors were often diluted in the overall data. It's a classic case of one-size-fits-all medicine failing a specific demographic. The frightening part is the false sense of security this creates. Someone over 60 might see a normal diastolic number like 80 and think they're in the clear, completely ignoring a systolic reading of 150, but in reality, that high systolic number is the real red flag. It's a direct signal that your arteries are under immense strain, increasing your risk of heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular events. It's like ignoring the loud rattling sound in your car's engine just because the fuel gauge says you have a full tank. You're focusing on the wrong indicator of danger. This brings us to the crucial question: what should you be looking at? If you are over 60, your primary focus should be on your systolic blood pressure. While your doctor will still consider both, that top number tells the most important story about your arterial health. This is when your systolic pressure is 130 or higher, but your diastolic pressure is less than 80. So, the next time you check your blood pressure, either at the doctor's office or at home, zone in on that top number. If it's consistently elevated, it's time to take action, even if the bottom number looks perfectly fine. Don't let a good diastolic reading lull you into a false sense of security. It's the systolic pressure that's waving the biggest red flag. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds scary. If my arteries are naturally stiffening with age, am I doomed to have high systolic pressure? Absolutely not. This is where the good news comes in. While you can't turn back the clock on aging, there are incredibly powerful lifestyle and dietary changes you can make to improve your arterial flexibility and lower that critical top number. And here's the best part: these aren't complicated or extreme measures. They are simple, sustainable habits that can make a world of difference. And the number one factor researchers have found to influence this? It might surprise you. It's not just about cutting salt or losing weight, although those are important. It's about actively nourishing your blood vessels with specific nutrients that fight stiffness and promote flexibility. And one of the most potent of these nutrients is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a miracle molecule that your body produces naturally. Think of it as a natural relaxant for your entire cardiovascular system. As we age, our body's ability to produce nitric oxide declines, which contributes to that arterial stiffening. So how do we boost our nitric oxide levels? The answer is beautifully simple: eat more nitrate-rich vegetables. Foods like beets, spinach, arugula, and kale are packed with dietary nitrates. When you eat them, your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide. It's a direct pathway to relaxing your blood vessels. Studies have shown that regularly consuming beet juice, for example, can significantly lower systolic blood pressure in just a matter of hours, with effects that last throughout the day. A salad loaded with leafy greens isn't just a healthy lunch. It's a prescription for better blood pressure. Another key player is potassium. We hear a lot about reducing sodium, but we don't hear enough about increasing potassium. Potassium helps your body get rid of excess sodium and eases tension in your blood vessel walls. Where do you find it? Bananas are famous for it, but don't stop there. Avocados, sweet potatoes, beans, and yogurt are all excellent sources. Balancing your sodium and potassium intake is like a seesaw. You want to lower the sodium side and raise the potassium side for optimal blood pressure control. Beyond diet, gentle, consistent movement is your best friend. You don't need to run marathons. Activities like brisk walking, swimming, or even gardening get your heart pumping and encourage your arteries to become more pliable. Regular exercise helps your body produce more nitric oxide and improves overall circulation. Think of it as physical therapy for your arteries. Even 30 minutes a day, most days of the week, can have a profound impact on your systolic reading. Another surprisingly effective tool is stress management. Chronic stress floods your body with hormones like cortisol, which constrict your blood vessels and drive up blood pressure. Finding healthy ways to unwind is non-negotiable. This could be deep breathing exercises, meditation, spending time in nature, or listening to calming music. Just a few minutes of conscious relaxation each day can help counteract the physiological effects of stress, giving your arteries a much-needed break. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports a calm and relaxed cardiovascular system from the inside out. So let's recap the game plan. First, shift your focus. Don't be fooled by a normal diastolic reading. Second, boost your nitric oxide. Load up your plate with beets, leafy greens, and other nitrate-rich vegetables to help your arteries relax. Third, balance your minerals. Increase your potassium intake with foods like avocados and beans to counteract the effects of sodium. Fourth, get moving. And finally, manage your stress. Practice relaxation techniques to keep your blood vessels from constricting. These steps are not just about managing a number. They are about reclaiming control over your cardiovascular health and protecting your future. The power to make a change is right there on your plate and in your daily habits. You now have the knowledge that many people are missing. You understand the hidden danger, and more importantly, you understand the solution. Don't just be a passive observer of your health. Be an active participant. Start today by making one small change. Maybe it's adding spinach to your breakfast or taking a walk after dinner. Every single step counts. Thank you for watching. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe for more health insights that can truly make a difference. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.